What's going on, Not Move Nation? Welcome to the Not Move podcast. Today's February 12th at 6:14 a.m. Eastern Time. Should be a pretty quick show today. Just going to break down these three NBA games on for today. I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors, BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Goal, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. This is the last day of regular season NBA basketball until next Thursday, February 19th. Due to the All-Star break, there's not a whole lot of injury information out right now, but I did notice that Luka Doncic for the Lakers is out with a hamstring issue. Cooper Flag for the Dallas Mavericks out today with a foot issue. Caleb Martin for the Mavericks questionable with an ankle issue. Marshall for the Dallas Mavericks questionable with a left foot strain. And then Ayton for the Lakers questionable with a knee issue. Keontae George for the Utah Jazz has missed the last 5 out of 6 games. He's missed 2 consecutive games, so we'll see if he suits up today. I would look at I'm getting this injury information from rotowire.com, so I think they do a good job at updating these injury information. Then Sharp for Portland's missed the last 3 games for Portland, so we'll see if he suits up today. I think Ryan Rollins missed yesterday for the Milwaukee Bucks, so we'll see if he goes today. And what about Jalen Williams here? It looks like on February 11th, so yeah, let's see, yesterday. Jalen Williams, Jalen, for the Oklahoma City Thunder, left the game after playing for 20 minutes. So we'll see if he plays again today. First game is the Bucks at Oklahoma City Thunder. The Bucks are on a 1-game win streak. Oklahoma City, 2-game win streak. Both of these teams did play yesterday. Oklahoma City's won 4 regular season games in a row against Milwaukee. These teams have played against each other 1 time this season, and Oklahoma City won that game by 20 points, 122-102. That game was at Milwaukee and played on January 21st. Milwaukee's got a 2-4 money line record on Thursdays this season. Oklahoma City's 4-2 on the money line on Thursdays this season. I didn't see any trends for either team on this specific date, February 12th. I did notice that Hartenstein, the projected starting center for Oklahoma City, has a 10-2 career record against Kyle Kuzma, who's the projected power forward, starting power forward for Milwaukee today. Hartenstein also has a 15-8 career record against Miles Turner, who's the projected starting center there today for Milwaukee. Jalen Williams, I mentioned that he left the game after 20 minutes yesterday, but he does have a perfect 5-0 career record against Kyle Kuzma. And then Chet Holmgren, the projected starting power forward for Oklahoma City, has a 4-0 career record against Kyle Kuzma. When I checked at about 8 p.m. Eastern time last night, Oklahoma City was favored by 13.5 points, over under 216.5. I see Oklahoma City right now on DK is minus 12.5, and the over-unders dropped down to 215.5. Looked at 3 different against the spread trends in this game. Oklahoma City wins 2 out of 3 of those trends. Oklahoma City just in general is better against the spread than Milwaukee. Milwaukee has the 7th worst record against the spread. They're 23-29. Oklahoma City 27-28. So I give Oklahoma City the advantage there. And then Milwaukee is 9-9 against the spread as a road underdog. Oklahoma City 13-14 against the spread as a home favorite. So I'll give Milwaukee the advantage there. And then Milwaukee has the 3rd worst against the spread record after a win. They're 7-14 against the spread after a win. Oklahoma City 20-21 against the spread after a win. So I give Oklahoma City the advantage there. I noted I mentioned that the over-under was what, 216 and a half. Oklahoma City has the sixth best record to the over this season. Milwaukee has the fourth worst record to the over. So in games that Oklahoma City plays, more times than not this season, those games have gone over whatever that total is set at. Today, I'm seeing it set at 215 and a half. And then total points scored in the game. So sixth best to going over for Oklahoma City, fourth worst for Milwaukee going. So more times than not, those games that Milwaukee are involved with go under that whatever that line set at for the game total. And then Milwaukee, they're 6-12 to the over as a road underdog, which is the third worst in the NBA this season. Oklahoma City is 13-14 to the over as a home favorite. So both have losing trends whenever, whether it's Milwaukee being a road underdog or Oklahoma City being a home favorite. More times than not, those games are going under. And then Milwaukee 9-12 to the over after a win. And then Oklahoma City 22-19 to the over after a win. I looked at how many points Milwaukee averages per game on the road this season. They averaged the second fewest points per game on the road this season, 107.9 points per game. Oklahoma City allows 106.6 points per game at home this season, which ranks second best. So, if you add those two numbers divided by 2, that gives us a projected score of 107.25 points for Milwaukee today. But I also think we have to take into account that Giannis hasn't been playing, so okay, Oklahoma City averages 120.1 points per game at home this season, which ranks third best in the NBA. Milwaukee allows 114.3 points per game on the road this season. That gives us a projected Oklahoma City score of 117.2. If you add both of those numbers up, Milwaukee's projected point total and Oklahoma City's projected point total, that gets us 224.45, which gets us over that 215 and a half total points. But once again, Giannis isn't playing. SGA, I forgot to mention him on that injury report, but I've mentioned him yesterday. He's out through the All-Star break. Jalen Williams could even be out today. Ryan Rollins missed yesterday. So, I think we have to take that into account. Then I looked at the last, 10 regular season meetings between these teams. 4 out of the last 5 regular season meetings between these teams have gone over 215 and a half total points. And actually 6 out of, it was actually at 216 and a half when I looked at that. So 4 out of the last 5 regular season meetings between these teams have gone over the 216 and a half total points. And then 6 out of the last 10 regular season meetings between these teams have gone over the 216 and a half. I did notice that Milwaukee ranks 26th in possessions per game, which is basically how you tell if a team is fast-paced or slow-paced, the number of possessions that they have per game. So Milwaukee ranks 26th, so they're a slower paced team, and Oklahoma City is slower than league average as well. They rank 16th in possessions per game. Then when I'm looking at these defenses, Oklahoma City, very good defensive efficiency. They rank first in team defensive efficiency. And I mentioned it yesterday, team defensive efficiency basically judges how good or bad a defense is, but it takes the pace of play out of the equation. So it's what are these teams allowing per 100 possessions instead of taking that pace of play into consideration? Because you could have a really good defense, but you play you're a fast paced team, and you just naturally allow more points, rebounds, assists than slower paced teams that have a bad defense. So Oklahoma City ranks first in that category. I don't see any big flaws for Oklahoma City. I think I mentioned this yesterday. It's getting a little repetitive here, but it's still good to keep it fresh in the mind. Oklahoma City allows the fourth most 3-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. So I think guys like AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, and even Miles Turner could possibly take advantage of that vulnerability today, because AJ Green leads the team in 3-point field goals made per game, ranks 13th in the NBA. Ryan Rollins, second best on the team, 37th best in the NBA. Miles Turner, third best on the team, 46th best in the NBA. And then, Oklahoma City allows the sixth most rebounds per game to opposing teams. So Bobby Portis leads the team in rebounds per game and ranks 48th best in the NBA in that category. And those are really the vulnerabilities I see with Oklahoma City. They rank first in points in the paint allowed per game and fast break points per game. They limit assists pretty well. They rank sixth best in assists allowed per game. So, yeah, solid defense here. Milwaukee really isn't that bad either. They're good at they're above average at defending points in the paint per game and fast break points per game. Like Oklahoma City, though, Milwaukee is struggling against that 3-point defense. They've allowed the third most 3-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. Isaiah Joe is the leader for Oklahoma City in 3-point field goals made per game, ranks 38th best in the NBA. I've mentioned this in the past. Oklahoma City really doesn't have a ton of great 3-point shooters. But if somebody else were to be, somebody else that I'm looking at here is maybe Dort, the projected shooting guard for Oklahoma City. I know that he could put up some threes as well. So those would be the two guys that I would possibly look at there. Milwaukee ranks 18th in assists allowed per game to opposing teams, so slightly below average. SGA, who's out today, is the leader for them. But if you know somebody that you like for Oklahoma City on the assists, I could see that possibly happening for you. And then rebounds per game, Milwaukee ranks 20th in that category, so slightly below average in preventing rebounds per game to opposing teams. Chet Holmgren's the leader for Oklahoma City in rebounds per game and ranks 17th best in the NBA. Something else I'll say about Chet Holmgren is that his rebounds per 40 minutes that he plays is at an all-time high this season compared to other seasons. So let me go here real quick. Chet Holmgren statistics. I'll go to ESPN.com and I'll go to these advanced stats. And this is his third season in the NBA. And his points per 40 are at an all-time high. When I see when I see players that have points per 40 minutes at an all-time high, or assists or rebounds, I think the history against how they've done against a team in the past means a little bit less. For instance, let's say that Chet Holmgren, and let's just say, I don't know what it is, but let's say his point total today is over under 17 and a half. All right. And let's say that the last 10 games that he's played against Milwaukee, he's only gone over that 2 times. Well, that is a cause for concern, but I would be a little bit less concerned about it since his points per 40 minutes that he's scoring this season are at an all-time high, you know. So And then something else I noticed is that Miles Turner's assists per 40 minutes are at a career high. And he's with Milwaukee. Kevin Porter's assists per 40 minutes are also at a career high. And then just for your guys' notes here, Kevin Porter has never had a triple double in 10 career games against Oklahoma City. And then Hartenstein for Oklahoma City has never had a triple double in 14 career games against Milwaukee. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Portland at Utah. Portland, 1-game losing streak. Utah, 2-game win streak. Both of these teams did play yesterday. Portland's won 2 regular season games in a row against Utah. These teams have played against each other 2 times this season. Portland obviously won both of those games. The first game was on October 29th, and Portland won that game by 2 points, 136 to 134. Very high scoring game. That game was at Utah as well, like it is here today. The most recent game was on January 5th at Portland, and Portland won that game by 20 points, 137 to 117. Another high scoring game. Portland has a 3-1 money line record on Thursdays this season, and Utah has a 2-6 money line record on Thursdays this season. I noticed that Drew Holiday, the projected starting point guard for Portland today, has a 7-1 career record against Markkanen, who is the projected starting small forward for the Utah Jazz. Drew Holiday also has a 7-3 career record against Jaren Jackson Jr. And then Drew Holiday has a 14-6 career record against Nurkic, who's the projected starting center for Utah today. By the way, Jaren Jackson Jr. is that projected starting power forward for Utah today. He's that new acquisition that Utah just got from Memphis. I noticed that Sharp has missed the past 3 games for Portland. But if he does play today and you like him going over his point total, whatever it is set at, I did notice that he had scored his career high in points against Utah, which was 37 total points on April 9th, 2025 at Utah, the same location this game's played in today. And from my understanding, that Utah point guard, shooting guard, those defenders are pretty bad. Keontae George, Ace Bailey. So, anyways, Portland, when I checked last night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, they were favored by 7.5 points, over under 237.5. And I checked DK for those odds. And I'm looking right now, Portland's favored by 7.5, but the over-under's at 239.5. Very high there. I looked at 3 different against the spread trends in this game, and I give Utah an advantage in 2 out of 3 of those trends. Utah is 31-24 against the spread this season, and Portland's 29-26. So I'll give Utah the advantage there. Utah is also 13-11 against the spread as a home underdog, whereas Portland's 4-6 against the spread as a road favorite. So I'll give Utah the advantage there as well. Portland is 15-13 against the spread after a loss. Utah's 9-8 against the spread after a win. So Portland barely has the advantage there. Total point trends. Utah has the second best record in the NBA to the over this season. They're 32-23 to the over. Portland, they have the 6th best record to the over this season. They're 29-26 to the over. Also, Utah has the 5th best record to the over as a home underdog this season. They're 17-7 to the over as a home underdog. Portland 6-4 to the over as a road favorite, which ranks 8th best in the NBA. And then Utah is 10-7 to the over after a win, which ranks 4th best in the NBA. Portland's 14-14 to the over after a loss. I looked at Portland's points per game that they've scored on the road this season and compared that with the amount of points per game Utah has allowed when they play at home this season. So Portland's averaged 113.3 points per game on the road this season. Utah has allowed 127.7 points per game at home this season, which gives us a projected score of 120.5 points for Portland. Say that 5 times fast. And then we have Utah. They have averaged 121.8 points per game at home this season, which ranks best in the entire NBA. And then Portland has allowed 119.5 points per game on the road this season, which gives us a projected point total of 120.65 for Utah. You add those two numbers together, you're looking at 241.15 is the number you get, which gets us over the 238.5, 239.5. 4 out of the last 5 regular season meetings between these teams have had a combined total score of 239 plus points. And then the last 5 out of 10 meetings between these teams have had 239 plus points. When I'm looking at team defensive efficiency, I mean, Utah ranks last in the NBA in that category. Maybe with Jaren Jackson Jr. there now, that number could go up a few notches, but we'll see. Utah, their biggest vulnerabilities are a couple of things here. Let's talk about their 3-point defense or lack thereof. They allow the most 3-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. So, Kamara is the leader for Portland in 3-point field goals made per game. He ranks 29th best in the NBA, followed by Jeremy Grant, who ranks 43rd best, Avia, who ranks 44th, and then Krejci, who ranks 47th. And then, fast break points allowed per game. Utah allows the most fast break points per game to opposing teams. Thibault is the leader for Portland, but it looks like he might be out today. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. He remains out indefinitely, but he is the leader. Just so you guys know, for Portland, ranks 8th best in the NBA. And then it's Sharp, who ranks 11th, and Avia, who ranks 28th. Utah also allows the most assists per game to opposing teams. Avia is the leader for Portland in assists per game and ranks 13th best in the NBA. I also did notice that Avia's points per 40 minutes and assists per 40 minutes are at a career high. And I was looking on ESPN.com at those advanced stats. If you look at that, at the very bottom, you'll see the current year that he's in. And yeah, his points per 40 and assists per 40 minutes that he plays are at all-time highs. Points in the paint allowed per game. Utah slightly below average at defending against that. Avia is the leader for the Portland Trail Blazers and ranks 33rd best in the NBA in points in the paint per game, followed by Sharp, who ranks 38th in that category. And then Utah ranks 19th in rebounds allowed per game, slightly below average at defending against that. Klingon is that leader for Portland, who ranks 3rd best in the NBA in rebounds per game, followed by Avia, who ranks 33rd. Utah also sends their opponents to the free throw line often. They allow the 2nd most free throw attempts per game to opposing teams. So I think that gives, if you're taking like point totals going over, I think that gives an added benefit for everybody, specifically Avia, who ranks 2nd best in the NBA. First on the team, 2nd best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. And then it's Jeremy Grant, who ranks 19th best in the NBA, and then Sharp, who ranks 43rd best in the NBA in that category. And then Portland, their biggest vulnerability is going to be those fast break points allowed per game. But we looked at it yesterday, right? And fast break points, the leader in fast break points per game is like LeBron James, who averages about 6 fast break points per game, compared to Giannis, who's the leader in points per game, points in the paint per game in the NBA. So he scores about like 18, I think it was, points in the paint per game. So, whenever we're talking about points in the paint and fast break points per game, I do give players that have that points in the paint advantage, I typically give them a bigger, you know, a bigger, a longer look at like player props than guys that are good at fast break points, because yeah, there's more points in the paint typically scored than fast break points. Okay. Anyways, um, Portland, they rank 18th in points in the paint allowed per game, so slightly below average at limiting those points in the paint per game. Markkanen is the leader for the Utah Jazz, ranks 13th best in the NBA in points in the paint per game, followed by Jaren Jackson, who ranks 40th best in the NBA in that category. Portland, they allowed the third most fast break points per game to opposing teams. Here's Markkanen again, leader for the Utah Jazz in fast break points per game, ranks 25th best in the NBA in that category. And then Keontae George, who ranks 44th in the NBA in fast break points per game. Portland's decent at defending against that three-point shot. They rank 12th in three-point field goals allowed per game, so they're above average in that category. Assists allowed per game, they rank 16th, so slightly below average. Collier ranks 8th in the NBA, first on the team in assists per game. And then Keontae George ranks 15th. Nurkic ranks 40th. Rebounds allowed per game. Portland's done a pretty decent job at that. They rank 10th in rebounds allowed per game to opposing teams. Overall, Portland's team defensive efficiency ranks 19th, so a little bit below average, but not terrible. And I did notice Portland sends their opponents to the free throw line more than league average. They rank 22nd in opponent free throw attempts per game. So I could see guys like Keontae George taking advantage of that if he plays today, because he ranks first on the team in free throw attempts per game, ranks 13th best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game, followed by Markkanen, who ranks 15th, and Jaren Jackson Jr., who ranks 39th. I did notice as well that Markkanen's points per 40 minutes and assists per 40 minutes are at a career high. Nurkic, his assists per 40 minutes is at a career high. I already mentioned Avia's points and assists per 40 minutes are at career highs. Avia has never had a triple-double in 12 career games against the Utah Jazz. Drew Holiday has not had a triple-double in his last 25 games against the Utah Jazz. And let's get into this last game here. We got the Dallas Mavericks at Lakers. Dallas, 8-game losing streak. Lakers, 2-game losing streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. The Lakers have won 4 regular season games in a row against the Mavericks. These teams have played against each other twice this season, and the Lakers won both of those games. The first game was on November 28th at LA, like it is here today, and the Lakers won that game by 10 points, 129 to 119. The most recent game was on January 24th at Dallas, and the Lakers won by 6 points, 116 to 110. The Lakers are 3-3 on the money line on Thursdays this season. Dallas is 3-5 on the money line on Thursdays this season. I didn't see any trends for either team, like winning streaks or losing streaks on this exact date of February 12th. I did notice that LeBron James, the projected starting power forward for the Lakers today, has an 8-1 career record against Gafford, who's that projected starting center for Dallas. LeBron also has a 9-2 career record against P.J. Washington, the projected starting power forward for Dallas today. Marcus Smart has a 9-2 career record against P.J. Washington, Smart being that projected shooting guard for the Lakers today. Smart also has a 9-3 career record against Gafford. Smart also has a 9-3 career record against Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is that projected starting point guard today for Dallas. And then Reeves has a 5-1 career record against Gafford. Basically, a lot of these Laker players have good history against the Mavericks players. Doncic, he's out tonight. That could be a revenge spot, but unfortunately, yeah, he's out. And then Cooper Flagg's out in this game. But, Max Christie, he is now that projected starting shooting guard for Dallas. He was in that trade package with Luka Doncic and all that stuff. So, this is a revenge spot for him, possibly. When I checked at 8 p.m. Eastern time last night, the Lakers were favored by 6.5, over under 234.5. The over under stayed the same. But the Lakers have moved to -7.5 here on DK. Looked at three different against the spread trends in this game, and the Lakers have advantages in all of those trends. The Lakers are 29-24 against the spread this season. The Mavericks are 23-30 against the spread, which ranks fifth worst in the NBA. Then the Lakers are 11-5 against the spread as a home favorite, which ranks fourth best in the NBA. And Dallas is 6-10 against the spread as a road underdog, which ranks fourth worst. So I give Lakers advantage there. And then the Lakers have the second best against the spread record after a loss. They're 14-6 against the spread after a loss. The Mavericks are 15-18 against the spread after a loss. So I give the Lakers advantage there. The Lakers are 30-23 to the over this season, which ranks fourth best in the NBA. The Mavericks are 24-29 to the over this season, which ranks 10th worst in the NBA. The Lakers are 10-6 to the over as a home favorite, which ranks fourth best in the NBA. The Mavericks are 8-8 to the over as a road underdog. And the Lakers are 12-8 to the over after a loss, which ranks second best in the NBA. The Mavericks are 13-20 to the over after a loss, which ranks sixth worst in the NBA. I looked at how many points per game Dallas has averaged on the road this season. They averaged 112.3 points per game on the road, which ranks ninth worst in the NBA. The Lakers have allowed 117.9 points per game at home this season, which ranks sixth worst. That gives us a grand total of 115.1 projected total points for Dallas today. But I think we have to take into consideration that Cooper Flag is out, and I think Caleb Martin and Marshall are questionable to play or something like that. So I think we got to keep up to date with those guys' availability, and just keep in mind that Cooper Flag is out for Dallas here today. Now, the Lakers have averaged 118.5 points per game at home this season, which ranks eighth best. Dallas has allowed 118.3 points per game on the road this season, which ranks 10th worst, which gives us a projected point total of 118.4 for the Lakers. You combine both of those together, and we're looking at 233.5, which is what that line is, right? I mean, it's at 234.5 now, but I saw it at 233.5 maybe 10 minutes ago. Only one of the last five regular season meetings between these teams have had 234 plus total points, and only three of the last 10 regular season meetings between these teams have had 234 plus total points. Team defensive efficiency, the Lakers are below average. They rank 23rd in that category. The Mavericks rank 13th. Let's talk about the Lakers defense first. Points in the paint allowed per game, they're below average. Cooper Flag, unfortunately, is the leader for Dallas, and he's not going to be playing today. So if you know somebody else for Dallas that could score, take over for those points in the paint, make up for that loss for Cooper Flag being in there, I think, they could do a decent job at scoring those points in the paint today. Fast break points allowed per game, Lakers are slightly below average at limiting those fast break points per game. They rank 16th in that category. Cooper Flag, once again, is the leader for the Mavericks in fast break points per game. He ranks 18th in the NBA, and then Marshall is second man up, who ranks 31st best in the NBA. The Lakers are slightly below average and defending against that three-point shot. They rank 19th in three-point field goals allowed per game. Three-point field goals, allowed per game. And Klay Thompson is the leader for the Mavericks. He ranks 18th best in the NBA in three-point field goals made per game. And then it's Max Christie, who ranks 33rd. The Lakers allow the sixth most assists per game to opposing teams. Nimhard is the leader for Dallas and ranks 35th in the NBA in assists per game. And then it's Flag, who ranks 49th. The Lakers allow the second fewest rebounds per game to opposing teams, just so you guys have that information. And the Lakers allow the fourth fewest free throws per game to opposing teams. So, pretty disciplined team here with the Lakers. And then with Dallas, they allow the most points in the paint per game to opposing teams. So Ayton, who's looks like he might be questionable, is what they're listing here on RotoWire. Yeah, he's questionable with a knee problem, but he is the leader for the Lakers in points in the paint per game. He ranks 14th best in the NBA. Then it's LeBron, who ranks 16th, Doncic, who ranks 28th, and Reeves, who ranks 42nd. Dallas is slightly below average in defending against fast break points per game. They rank 18th in that category. LeBron James not only leads the Lakers in fast break points per game, but leads the entire NBA in fast break points per game. Dallas does a really good job at defending against that three-point shot. They allow the third fewest three-point field goals made per game to opposing teams. That's a strength of theirs. Assists allowed per game, they're not terrible. They rank 20th in that category, so slightly below average. Doncic, who is unavailable tonight, is the leader and the only guy that I saw for the Lakers who ranks in the top 50 of the NBA in assists per game. And then Dallas, they allow the third most rebounds per game to opposing teams. Ayton leads the Lakers and ranks 19th best in the NBA in rebounds per game. And then it's Doncic, who ranks 25th in that category. And the Mavericks do a good job too at limiting those opponent free throw attempts per game. They rank 9th in that category. LeBron has had a triple-double in 2 of his last 25 games against Dallas. Reeves has not had a triple-double in 13 career games against Dallas. And I did just notice real quick that Reeves, his points per 40 minutes, assists per 40 minutes, and rebounds per 40 minutes are all at career highs for him. So, but anyways, yeah, I think this is going to be, what did I say? This is the last day of regular season NBA until next Thursday. So I don't know if I'll see you guys before then. If I don't, I'll see you then. Take care. Good luck today. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you to our sponsors, BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Goal, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. All right, take care. Thanks again. Good luck.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.